WMMBAM.com, our video on demand section. We're talking with candidates for the County Judge Group 5 seat. We've got Curt Jacobus and Steve Koons in. Gentlemen, let me first ask you the role of the judge in Group 5. What cases will this judge handle, and what's your perspective on handling those cases? We'll start with Curt Jacobus.
Group 5 is whole entire, that's more of a supervised thing. It's all of Brevard County. It's a county court. There's two division court. One is on the civil side and one is on the criminal side. It's up in the air what job we'll be taking. You
could end up being assigned to either or both during the term of this office.
Correct.
All right, very good. Steve Koons, you pretty much the same going to be the role?
Well, a judge can be assigned to criminal, the court of the traffic. County court judges also serve at the pleasure of the chief judge, and the chief judge has ordered the county judges to do some things such as domestic violence injunctions, and handle the circuit court trials. They do that as well. So it's criminal process penalties up to 1 year, Brevard County civil action, $1,000 in dispute.
All right. Also, initial appearances for defendants, those kind of things?
Correct.
All right, very good. I have hesitated from interviewing judicial candidates because of the rules in play by the Florida Bar, which needs to be, but we'll go on from there. Should these races be partisan? I want to know as much as I can about you guys make a decision. Curt Jacobus,
I don't think it should be partisan on the judicial branch, such as like the sheriff's office, public defenders, all those. I don't think they should be partisan. We should be able to speak out and talk, and so people get to know us. But the judiciary is an independent side of it. It needs to be nonpartisan. I mean,
okay. Steve Koons, what are your thoughts?
I'm comfortable with it being nonpartisan, and I understand the reason for the rule. We're subject to Canon 7. We have to follow the rules. We're licensed lawyers. Lawyers that have a license to practice law, we have to follow the rules, and the rules of the road are set in place by the Supreme Court of Florida. We follow their rules. You can find out a lot about a candidate, though, without necessarily knowing what his partisan leanings are and how he's politically registered to vote.
Let me share with you a poll from yesterday at WMMBAM.com. We asked our audience, should judicial races in Florida be partisan? 33% of the audience, a third, said yes, voters need to know the candidates. 11% said no, judges must be politically ambiguous, and 56% said, let's not pretend they don't have political leanings. Given that we all have our own political beliefs, persuasions, our ideas of how things ought to run in government or in the country, why should that be out of bounds? Why shouldn't we know that about you? Steve, we'll start with you.
Well, the Supreme Court has told us that we can't do it, and, I'm going to follow Canon 7. I'm going to follow the rules. However, I can tell you that if you take a look at a candidate's website, you take a look at who his supporters are, you can pretty much get a pretty good idea of what his political orientation is. I'm clear on the fact, and I understand that it's clear that judicial candidates do have political leanings. We're human, just like everybody else. However, we have to be nonpartisan, and we have to follow the law.
All right. Give me your thoughts, Curt Jacobus.
And I kind of agree, but, on Canon 7, but like I say, the judicial should be independent. Yes, it does come into play, but I think it comes into play more in the Supreme Courts of Florida, Supreme Courts of other states, and for the United States Supreme Court. When governors or presidents pick who they are, I mean, yeah, politics come into play. On the county level and trial court level, it really doesn't. It's a matter about their background, what they've done, and you follow the law. I mean, because it's not you're not getting into the issues of abortions. You're not getting into any of those changing laws. We don't do, we just follow the law and rule on it.
All right. Well, yeah, the hot button issues don't necessarily fall in front of this court that you guys are running for, and I can accept and understand that. Let me ask you, and Curt, we'll start with you. What's important for you to bring to the bench in this job? What are the goals that you're looking to attain as this judge?
The number one thing is for the citizens of Brevard County and throughout the United States to respect the judiciary. Make them trust it again. The system only works if the citizens respect it and trust it. If they don't trust it, it collapses. My role is be firm but fair. I mean, I'm a Brevard County. I was an ex-Brevard County deputy sheriff, member of our SWAT team, and that's where I lie. I mean, I love the law. When I was deputy, that's where I got into where I really believed the law, and wanted to move forward. Became a lawyer, and always wanted to become a judge.
All right, very good. Steve Koons, what's important for you to bring to the bench?
Well, what I bring to the bench is a track record. I have a lot of experience. I've tried many cases, criminal prosecutions. I'm a former assistant state attorney, former assistant attorney general of Florida. I've argued cases in the Florida Supreme Court, the district courts of appeal, on behalf of the people of the state of Florida. I have a great deal of experience in trying cases on the civil side in both the county and circuit courts. I have involved myself in the improvement of the legal system here, and not only in this county, but in Central Florida and South Florida, where I was for a period of time. And
what improvements would you like to point to that you've been involved in?
Access to legal services for all people in the community, regardless of their financial station in life. That's why I've been very active in pro bono work.
All right, very good. I had the privilege of being summoned to jury duty just a couple of weeks ago. Do we need an opt-out form for former cops? Because they're never going to seat me, number one. Number two, I see a lot of folks in that jury pool that probably shouldn't be there. They're not engaged. They're not paying attention. The first time I went to jury duty, ladies thumbing through Better Homes and Gardens as the judge is giving instructions as to what we would be doing there. Should we maybe have at least a partial pool of professional jurors, somebody who would be the jury foreman in each case that's assigned from a case of a set of employees that are professional jurors that would help lead and guide and shape the system? We're putting it in the hands of amateurs is what I'm seeing. And Curt Jacobus, we'll start with you.
I don't think so. I think maybe get a different selection process, because I've been picked once in 12 years, and some people get picked 3 times in a year. But the pool, because when you're either on a criminal on the being prosecuted, or if you're in a civil trial, personal injury, that's part of it. You got your lawyers strategizing who should be that jury pool, but everybody should have a chance to be on that jury. And I think it's up to the courts to make sure people are paying attention.
What about 1 out of 6 being a pro? Like the idea or not?
1 out of what? 1
out of 6 on the jury being a pro, being somebody who knows and sees the system regularly, rather than 6 rookies who don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but see, that's like if a lawyer got picked for the jury, they would control the whole entire jury. So then it comes down to 1, because they could convince the other 5 to play in their hands. So then it becomes a 1 jury panel. Okay,
interesting perspective. Steve Koons, you smiled when I asked the question.
Yes, I did. I have to tell you, and I have to tell to everybody sitting out there, that the jury system that we have in this country is the absolute best system there is, period, bar none. I've watched it work for the 30 years or so that I've been toiling in the courts. And I like the fact that there are people who are brought from all walks of life with all different perspectives and are subjected to sitting and listening to a trial and instructed on the law and told what the law is, and they make a decision. And it may not be a perfect system, but I am absolutely convinced that it's the best system on the planet.
So one professional being a regular juror all the time as part of his job, it would not enhance what's going on there?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, it would. I think that would go the other way. We need to have the people involved. We the people. The U.S. Constitution. That's what this is all about. And the people ought to be the one to make the decision, not some professional juror. And you also wonder, if you have a professional juror, what axe does he have to grind in this? Who are behind? How is he involved? How is he being influenced? Forget about all that. We need to bring 6 objective people. 12 people in a first-degree murder case, of course, but we need 6 objective people, regular people, citizens here in this county to come in and hear the case and render a verdict in accordance with the law and evidence as instructed by the court.
I'm thinking next time one of you guys needs heart surgery, we'll get 6 people off the street and see who's best qualified. As we move forward, the question that got me tossed, I'm firmly convinced when I was selected and sitting through the examination, first from the judge and then from the prosecutor and defense team. Defense counsel asks, did any of you, when you walk in, were you able to identify who the defendant was by looking at the room? My hand went up. I was a cop for way too many years. Yes. The guy in the suit without the tie at the defense table is the bad guy, okay? I was tossed off the jury immediately. That's how it works. Let's talk about endorsements in this race. Guys, did you seek and do you have endorsements, and are they important in a judicial race? Steve, we'll start with you.
Well, yes, I do have endorsements. I've been endorsed by the Brevard County Firefighters, International Association of Firefighters. I've been endorsed by one of the most prominent businessmen here in the county, of which I've known for a long period of time. I met him, initially because of his work in, his philanthropy in the county, and that's Mike Erdman. I've been endorsed by Senator Mike Herodopoulos. I've been endorsed by the former president of the Brevard County Bar, Timmy Tucker. I've been endorsed by the executive director of Brevard County Legal Aid, Rob Johnson. I've garnered a lot of endorsements. Visit my website, and you will see page after page of endorsements from lawyers.
We'll give folks a chance to hit the website a little bit later. Yes. Curt Jacobus, endorsements in this race.
Endorsements and supporters, but endorsements are written. They have to have a writing. I have a lot of verbal endorsements. Steve Christofoli, and then on written endorsements, Sheriff or past Sheriff Phil Williams. But I'm supported by Brevard lawyers, Brevard law enforcement. With my past career as being a deputy sheriff, I have a lot of the support of the deputies and other law enforcement officers. Also, who else was there?
Well, let me follow it up with this question, and we'll start with you and then go back to Steve. Do endorsements in a judicial race, this independent judiciary that we are pretending that we have, do they impact the potential impartiality of the court?
I don't think so. I think endorsements are good because, I have, endorsements and supporters from both sides, criminal defense attorneys to prosecutors to civil attorneys, both defense and civil, that are on the plaintiff side. And that gives you a well-rounded basis. It's not saying I'm going to go one side or the other.
Okay. Steve Koons.
Well, I think that helps the public in taking a look at where this particular candidate happens to be. Look at who is endorsing him and who's not endorsing him. It gives you a lot of information about it. I'm being endorsed by the longest-standing public official in the state of Florida who happens to have a particular partisan affiliation, and that is J.R. Russo. He's the longest-standing public official in the state of Florida. So that tells you a lot about each candidate, but it does not in any way undermine the impartiality as far as I'm concerned.
How does the public then believe that if you have a case in front of you involving Mike Erdman, for example, a lawsuit brought by somebody who's done business with him, that there's not a bias there? Or do you just automatically pull yourself from the case and recuse yourself?
I would give them the opportunity to recuse me. If there was a case involved with Mr. Erdman, I would most likely recuse myself.
Okay, what are your thoughts on those kind of issues, Curt?
I agree. Let the lawyers decide because they may want you as the judge, both sides, because you're a good judge. But if the lawyers and their clients believe that, hey, we're not going to get a fair trial, then move on because you may get a worse judge. So that's why let the lawyers make the decision, but be happy to if they want to ask for a recusal, gladly take it.
Maybe we should rate judges like school teachers. I'm just thinking out loud. Are you registered to vote in a political party?
Yes.
Yes.
Want to tell me which one?
Are you looking at me, Bill?
I'm looking at both of you, but we'll start with you, Steve.
Bill, I am prohibited under Canon 7 from answering that question.
Which means I should toss you out on your ear and we should take the Florida Bar and the Supreme Court up on this. I need to know you before I can cast a vote.
Well, all you have to do is if you do your homework and you take a look.
You know how much of this electorate does its homework?
I am in favor. I'm in favor of an informed electorate.
Okay. Yes. What? Yeah. You want to answer the question, Curt, or can you?
I can't. There's other states that have.
I elected partisan judges my whole life in West Virginia. Yeah. Some of the best judges I put in office were Democrats, and they did a great job. Yeah. But I'm a flaming Republican. You don't trust the public to make the decision. Is what the court is saying to me. And we tell people how important these jobs are, and then we put blinders on them and expect them to make a call. I think it's horrible.
What's even worse is we can't go to partisan events. Such as I'm a voter. I want to go and
you listen to somebody.
Listen to someone, and I can't do it.
That's
but,
interesting.
That's. But we're going to follow the rules. I think it's a pendulum. It is becoming more laxed. There
were some changes recently, I understand, in that law.
Yeah, we couldn't go any partisan events. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're invited to go speak and your opponent's invited too, you can go to these events and speak. They limit what you can say, but at least they can meet you.
Can you tell me how you plan on voting for president? I'm not asking your party now. Can you tell me how you're going to vote for president?
I can't.
The Canon 7 specifically prohibits us from doing that, Bill.
Can you tell me how you're voting in any other race?
In a political race, no. Canon 7 prevents us from doing that because it would be actually us, showing preference for any political candidate.
And what it does is it means
so we're going to pretend that you guys don't have biases and leanings. That's disturbing. I'm sorry, it is.
I know. And I know a lot of citizens of Brevard County. And all over. I mean, they're not happy about that. I mean, they're
very good. Tell me, and Curt, we'll start with you. The most important thing voters need to know about you as they go to the polls and consider how they're going to vote in this race.
Number one, my background is starting out in law enforcement. I think that is critical. I think all judges should be in law enforcement. That's the man I became today is because of work with the sheriff's office.
Some of them should be in handcuffs, but okay, I'm with you.
And yeah, that's true. And is on the SWAT team. But the biggest thing a county court judge is most important thing is willing to listen, patience, and showing respect. Those are the big things because a lot of times you come from the court and it's pro se, especially civil side. It's $500 for a small business owner suing a debtor. They don't want to pay $2,000 for an attorney to go fight it for them when they're not going to. Doesn't make business sense. So they go and take it from themselves, and that's where it's so important for the judge. They just don't want to get railroaded through the system. They want to know why they won, why they lost, and really the guy that lost, but they want to know why. So they don't do it again or what. But usually, sometimes even with attorneys, you get railroaded through the system. They say, denied or you lose with no explanation. I think that's bad. So I think a personable person as a judge is key.
All right, very good. Steve Koons, what's the most important thing voters need to know about you as they make this call?
Track record ought to count for something. I know the ropes. I've been there. I have a great deal of experience. I've tried many, 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 many cases, criminal and civil. I've represented all sorts of people, all sorts of commercial disputes. I've been involved in the improvement of the education of lawyers. I've been involved in the improvement of the actual legal system itself here in Brevard County. If you come to court and I happen to be your next elected Brevard County judge, you'll be treated with dignity and respect, whether you have a lawyer or not, because oftentimes in the civil side of the court, many people come without lawyers. They come when they have fear, they have trepidation, they don't know what's going to happen. If they come to a court in which I happen to be there as the county judge, they'll be treated fairly, and they will be not put at any disadvantage because they happen to be there without a lawyer.
Folks want more information about Steve Koons. Where do they go to get it?
SteveKoonsforJudge.com.
All right, very good. Curt Jacobus, more information for you?
JacobusForJudge.com.
Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you one more question and let you take it where you like. What have I not asked that would information about you? We'll start with
the biggest thing for me too is also I'm starting I've been in a career for about 15 years now in the law, and as a judge is county court judge. It's the lowest thing, but I'm starting out, so I want to progress my career in judge. My opponent is a one-term judge. Right now, the law says he has to retire after one. And he will, at 6 years. The Florida retirement's in it. So that's where I am. I'm starting out. I want to progress my way up to, appellate courts.
All right, very good. Steve Koons, what I'm not asked, tell us more.
Well, let's go on to that. The retirement thing that he's referenced to him is going to be involved in the Florida State retirement else. I'm not doing this because I want to retire. My point is to retire. I have many who continue on and on and on. I'm in because I have gray hair experience. I have the experience, experience, also life experiences to actually be very qualified Brevard County. What you haven't asked me is, how much time I've spent actually doing what I've done. I've been involved in this for over 35 years, and record counts. Ask for the electorate to make their name.
All right. Curt Jacobus, anything else that I've not got on the table?
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
both for the time today. You can catch this at WMMBAM.com, keyword. Thank you for figuring it out. You decide whether it's worth viewing judicial from now on. I'll figure it out.